Hello and welcome. You're watching Horse Sense, the one show that transports you into the fascinating world of horse racing and polo. From sport to business to entertainment to lifestyles of racing personalities, Horse Sense will demystify every facet of equestrian sport. Our journey will take us from India to all over the world, including places like England, France, Hong Kong and Singapore, to bring you diversity and insight like never before. Our first stop is Bangalore, India.
Here completes the line. They're all in. Starters orders and off they go for the
Kingfisher Ultra Bangalore Derby. It's Bangalore's premier racing event amongst horse racing's most coveted crowns. But what does it actually mean? To fully understand this, we would have to step back in time 54 years ago to the year 1962. This was the year the race was first run. Kunigal is India's oldest farm and was owned by Tipu Sultan. The Kunigal Derby, and what a show of pomp and pageantry it was, endorsed by none other than the Maharaja himself. The Maharaja would drive from the Bangalore Palace in an open landau drawn by 4 horses on a newly laid out sand path. The Derby contenders were stabled at the palace and they would reach the racecourse in a procession, now with a commercial. The Kingfisher Bangalore Derby is today the ultimate crown of a champion's career. The Derby has since become a lifestyle event since the advent of sponsorship in the year 1988 when the UB Group began to sponsor this race. Now, with crores of rupees pumped in, the top 3-year-old horses in the country battle it out in a 2,000-meter contest for one to ultimately rise above and be crowned the Ultra Champion.
It is the biggest event in our summer calendar on racing here in Bangalore. And Kingfisher Ultra has been sponsoring it for, I believe, 29 years. It's a fantastic association and we have to really thank the UB Group for their continued patronage. It's a great event.
Contrary to popular belief, every horse race is not known as the Derby. The Derby is in fact the one race that is the most prestigious the world over, and each racing jurisdiction has its own. The one race that every horse owner, trainer and jockey wants to win. Derbies all over the world have emulated the original Derby, the Epsom Derby, which is run at the Epsom Downs in England. The origin of that race has an interesting tale attached to it that goes something like this. The 12th Earl of Derby and Charles Bunbury tossed a coin to decide the name of a new race to be initiated in the year 1779. The toss-up was obviously between the two men, and needless to say, the 12th Earl of Derby won the coin toss and voila, the Derby was born. Since that day, the Derby has come a long way to become the race it is today, replete with glamour, top-class racing action and, of course, glory.
There are a lot of variables that go into training a racehorse. Much like the athletes we got to see throughout the Olympics, these thoroughbreds have a very specific diet and training plan which is tailor-made to their racing campaign. Let's have a look at what goes into the making of a champion.
The horses that eventually run in the Kingfisher Ultra Bangalore Derby at the age of 3 are often bought as babies with the intention of having them compete in the Derby, and with the sole focus in mind, they are put through rigorous prep over the years to groom them for the big day. What a racegoer witnesses on race day on the racetrack is just a fraction of what goes on behind the scenes. A team of experts, including a trainer, vets, farriers, jockeys, seises, work tirelessly as a unit to ensure the horse is race ready. This planning and execution includes diet, exercise, rest and medication. Horses are in fact no different in their regime than most athletes. Their exercise regime includes running on a treadmill and of course the racetrack, as well as swimming in a specially designed equine pool. And so, After a dip, the need of the hour is food. A carefully planned diet is of utmost importance because what a horse eats contributes to a horse's overall well-being. Feed over the years has advanced to include natural as well as pelleted feed. A horse's diet mainly consists of grass and hay as well as grains that have to be fed to them in precisely measured quantities. Now to farriery, which is the practice of shoeing a horse. This too is a specialized practice that is handed down from generation to generation. One wrong move and a horse could be out of the running. In fact, in racing, the most popular saying, no foot, no horse.
Basically, why do we shoe a horse, right? We shoe a horse because the whole horse, which weighs 400 or 500 kilos, actually when the horse is galloping, takes the full weight of the body on one particular foot at one particular point of time, right? So the hoof is actually a shock absorber and the last point of protection for the horse, okay? So the shoe goes on as an extra protection for the horse. Now, it's a very complex process. It's done by a professional called a farrier. He's the only person who can do it, right? And the farrier has been taught over the years how to do it. And you need to balance a hoof correctly. It's the most important part because you get a lot of other problems related to the horse, right starting with the shoe. There is a saying in racing, no hoof, no horse. It's the most important thing.
The horse's legs are considered to be as an arm. So his arm shoulder, and then is the elbow, and then comes down is his forearm, which is fused by two bones as one, which carries all the weight, and then is the knee, which is actually the wrist. Okay, and then comes the hand, where we have 5, they just have 1, and they walk in 1 digit. And then comes the hoof, which is actually our nail. So we've been metaling shoes into a hoof back 1,500 years, and it's always been metal shoes until the Second World War, and then we've been using aluminium shoes in the races because it's a little lighter weight, so it's easier. And the importance of shoeing is first we clean the hoof and then we trim. It's like the dead nail of us. It's the same way. It's like shaping them up, because the more they grow, the more harmful it is for the horses. And so we trim them, and then we keep the shoe. So when we keep the shoe, we actually balance the whole heel. We make it even, and we keep the shoe, and we make sure that they are balanced. And the shoe should be of the right size. If it's smaller or if it's long, like bigger, then what's the point of putting the shoe? It won't be of any support for the horse.
Many factors go into making a horse derby ready. Let me put this in perspective. Usain Bolt runs at an average speed of 24 miles per hour. A racehorse, on the other hand, touches average speeds of 44 miles per hour. No wonder then that these horses are so well looked after.
Time now for a quick break on this show. When we come back, it's the thrill, the glory, the heartache, the adrenaline that comes with the derby.